morning, everyone. We're going to get underway. I know I've got to be back to City Hall for 11:30, so we're good. We're on. We're live. All right. Okay, new glasses. I'm going to see if I can read this correctly. Board members, staff, guests, and members of the public are reminded that the Full Authority board meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the Authority's website along with the official written minutes. As such, comments and opinions expressed may be published, and any comments expressed by individual board members, guests, and the general public are their own and do not represent the opinions or comments of the Full Authority and the KCCA Board of Directors. The recorded video of the Full Authority meeting is not considered the official record of the meeting. The official record of the Full Authority meeting shall consist solely of the minutes approved by the Full Authority. So, any declarations of pecuniary interest today?
For the closed session.
Closed session item, okay. We don't have any delegations. We'll move into our minutes. We have minutes from the May 11th Personnel Finance Committee meeting that were circulated in advance, as well as the May 16th Full Authority meeting minutes that were circulated. Any questions or comments on any of those? Moved by Linda. We have seconder. Bill? No questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried unanimously. All right. Matters arising. We've got our June project tracking report. Elizabeth.
Madam Chair, I'm going to tag team with a couple of staff members here. Betsy has a few updates she'd like to give.
Lots going on right now, guys.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you, Madam Chair. This landscape on the lake, it was a great event. First time we've ever done something like it with the Thames Valley District School Board. 3 high school art classes from St. Thomas came down to the lake, and it was sort of trying to merge the environment and art and inspire them by the natural surroundings. So they were split into 2 groups, and they got to learn about photography and composing pictures. And then the other element was working with local artists to do a collaborative art piece that'll be put together and be able to be showcased in each of the high schools. So really neat event and great feedback from the teachers. The teachers even themselves said, you know, I never thought about bringing them outside to be inspired to do their art. So it was a neat way of engaging students other than those that are in the biology or science type courses. To get out and just sort of observe what's around them.
Yeah, I know my niece was one of the kids, and she had a great time. She said all the kids were talking about it, they loved it. So, yeah.
Next item is, if you remember last fall, we held a Lake Erie student conference, and part of that conference was the Stream of Dreams program, and the students created these wooden fish. So we just completed the mural installation at the pier in Port Stanley, and it looks pretty awesome. Actually, Dave came by as we were installing. So it's a neat art piece that's at the pier now. I think this might be my last one. The Youth Corps has been busy over the last month or so. So we do have 12 students that have joined the Youth Corps to basically undertake 5 projects with us over the summer. So they helped us plant shrubs at Fingal Wildlife Management Area. 2,000 wildflower plugs were planted on Donker Drive in St. Thomas, just adjacent to the Dalewood Reservoir. And most recently they helped basically maintain 2.5 kilometers of our new old growth trail before the big opening.
The other element that we thought we'd bring the board up to speed on is the renovation of the Lakeshore washroom out at Lake Whitaker. So you can just see the progression from the top left of the old building and down into the new building. It's quite the facelift that has occurred there, and probably the biggest facelift is inside. So a completely new building there, and we're pretty proud to say that we're on budget as well. So, and it was completed on time, so it's open and ready for business for this major weekend coming up. I'll let maybe Jeff speak to this one.
Yes.
That doesn't look good.
No, it's definitely one of those challenging years for tree planting, from everything from weather to
mechanical failure to, you know, deer have always been the major challenge that we've had with successful tree planting.
I wish you that way.
Preventing us from planting trees. So, yeah, so it was interesting with this particular one, if you can indulge me for a minute.
Go ahead.
We were way back in the field, a long way from the road where anybody that could come to hear the tractor tire could come and get to us. So it was leaking pretty badly. As you can see, the antler embedded itself in the tire, but didn't notice it for probably 3 or 4 rotations of the tire. So a couple of the other antlers poked holes into the tire itself. So there were several holes in the tire. So way back from the road. So we kind of did an inventory of what we had, found some duct tape. Tried to slow the bleeding a little bit from those leakages. Had a saw, so we managed to cut that antler off. Pounded the piece back in a little bit, put duct tape over it, and just made a beeline for the road. We managed to make it only losing about half the air of the tire, and the gentleman that showed up to repair the tire just howled when he saw it. Did you really expect the duct tape to do anything? Just to slow the bleeding, but yeah. So it kind of sums up the entire season
Green.
in one picture.
Yeah.
So,
Red, green, really proud.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the picture on the right was the day after we got the tractor back to the office from that tree planting site and came in gung-ho to get started again the next day, and both the front and the back tire were flat. The repairs didn't take, so.
How much for those tires?
We didn't actually have to replace them, so we don't know. The bigger one would be pretty pricey.
Yeah. Yeah, the deer usually eat the trees. They don't usually like, get us this way.
Prevent us from
Yeah.
planting those. It's interesting.
And then I think the final thing that we thought we'd throw some pictures in on was the Dan Patterson Trail launch, which happened last Wednesday. I would say we had upwards of 20 members of the public come out for the launch and do really the complete walk, and some local coverage in the newspaper as well for that trail to be open. So we're really happy to have that back up and open for the public to use. And then obviously there was a significant amount of stuff that staff accomplished over the last month, and that was put out to the public as well through our Facebook and Twitter feeds.
All right. Any questions, comments for staff? It's been a busy month, that's for sure. All right, we've got motion to receive this for information. Moved by Dave, seconded by Max. All in favor? It's carried unanimously. All right. Next up, watershed conditions report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For May, water levels were above the trigger for low water conditions. Quick check of June, we're tracking down, but we're still on average above low water. Dog Creek is a little lower than the rest of the watershed. All the rain that we've gotten the last couple of days will help with that. No flooding, obviously, at this time. We did receive $4,000 in funding from the M&R for the Ontario Low Water Response Program, which will go towards data analysis and monitoring, things that we normally do for that program, so it's nice to get a little bit of funding. I had a good opportunity this year to work with Scott Billing, one of the species at risk biologists in Upper Thames. He was able to provide incubation space for some turtle eggs that were at risk at Dalewood Conservation Area. These were eggs that were laid, one in a fire pit, right next to a fire pit, so they would have been cooked. And the other one was in the roadway down in the tent camping area. So the eggs are laid in a pretty shallow area, so if they got run over, they'd be all destroyed. So he has a partnership with Salt Haven Wildlife Rescue in Strathroy, I believe is where they're located, and so they have the ability to take those eggs in and incubate them. They'll be hatching in September, and we will be able to re-release them back into our watershed when they're hatched. And since then, we've also taken another set of eggs over the turtle that was nesting last year at the shop. We were going to let it just keep its eggs there, but then we watched 2 raccoons checking it out.
Oh,
So I moved those ones as well.
that's great.
But really interesting experience.
Need an education system for the snapping turtles.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, all 8 species of freshwater turtles are at risk now, so.
Wow.
And only 1% of eggs will reach maturity, and it takes 20 years for a snapping turtle to start to lay eggs. So anytime a turtle is run over by a car, which is one of the highest mortality issues, you've set that population back a lot. So.
Do we have any monies at all set aside? I noticed that even as you go around the conservation area, occasionally you see the turtle signs. But do we have anything that could be maybe enhanced, or is there a way to put maybe a few more out, especially in those nesting type areas?
That's something that we can look into for sure. I mean, we try to increase the education with some of the posts about, watching for turtles when they're crossing the road and whatnot. There is a turtle conservation center in Peterborough, and I think they might have a lead on where you can get those signs.
It would be nice, because I noticed in some of our busier highways here, it just would be nice, caution or slow down or, whatever. Right? I know it's, but still,
It's
it would be nice to see a little bit more, maybe just around the conservation area. If we can find a line on that.
unfortunately, there's a lot of people who will specifically drive off the road and run over
They
turtles,
should do, yes.
which I have seen as well.
Yeah.
The education, I think, is
We were able to save 2 nests, so that's good.
Questions, comments? No? All right, can I get a motion to receive for information? Linda and Ian? So I thought there was a hand beside you too, Ralph's hand went up, but then it went down. All in favor? That's carried. All right, next up, the budget plan.
Madam Chair, I'm proposing a similar process to what we used last year. I think there was good feedback from the board members in terms of bringing the budget through the full board, and in stages with each department having a session in which they can detail basically their work plan for the next year. So I've laid out a schedule again in this report, as well as staff is being encouraged as they build those reports to look and establish some long-term goals for 2019 and beyond that can be brought forward with the new session that begins in 2019 to look at some strategic plans as we start another 4-year cycle of budget planning. So the first one will be brought back to you in August. So just to ask, seeking approval of that schedule.
All right, questions, comments? No? Bill?
Needed approval for
Yep.
that? or-
Yep. Bill, you good with that? Steve, seconding? No questions or comments? All in favor? Carried unanimously. All right. So,
Madam Chair, there's the statement of revenues. This is not included in the package, and there was no correspondence, so the next item would be the Kettle Creek Clean Water Initiative.
Thanks, Madam Chair. So we have one application this month for funding for the Clean Water Initiative. This property is in the headwaters of the Upper Kettle Creek sub-watershed. The farm is rented but has heavily sloped fields with a lot of erosion. And the landowner over the last couple of years has been retiring some of that highly erodible land to do wetlands, trees, turtle nesting beds. And he's looking to continue that project this year. So you can see the blue highlighted areas is generally where this wetland will go on the south side of the property. And basically he's looking to retire approximately 4 acres of land. 2 acres of it would be wetland with surrounding buffer lands. And the area already typically floods several times a year and holds water seasonally, so it's a good location for it on the farm. The total project cost is just over $21,000, and he has other funding through Ducks Unlimited, OPG Wetland Funding, and the Kettle Creek Environmental Trust. So the grant request from the Kettle Creek Clean Water Initiative would be $3,000.
Questions for Betsy?
My questions, I'd be happy to move that. It's a good partnership, and it's good to see some more wetlands being built.
Yeah. We got a second here for that motion? Ralph, right? There's no questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next, the Dalewood Trail project.
Madam Chair, this was a project that was included in the draft budget. The report that you have in front of you today has just additional details in terms of what staff are planning. As we've mentioned before, parking and access to the Dalewood Trail has become an increasing concern, especially for designated parking for hikers using the trail. So what staff had thought about is reopening a parking lot that previously existed. The remnants of which are still there just off of Dalewood Road. There exists still a privy back there that would be easily opened up. The parking lot needs some grading and additional gravel just to reestablish it as a parking lot. And then the plan is to reestablish a trail down from the parking lot connecting it in to the Dalewood Reservoir. In order to do this, the yellow area is still a municipal road allowance owned by the municipality of Central Elgin. Through a staff report that went to that council, they're agreeable to offering that portion back up to Kettle Creek. And so what I'm asking for today is the ability to move forward with this project to facilitate the reopening of the lot, to proceed with a transfer of land from the municipality of Central Elgin to Kettle Creek. The project itself, there's $34,500 set aside in the capital budget for this project. We've been able to get $2,000 from the Kettle Creek Environmental Trust, $3,000 from Roots Community Fund, and there's some available money through the project of the Kettle Creek Youth Corps. So right now, budget-wise, we'd be looking at only using about $25,000 of capital funds, down from the budget that we had of $34,000. As you can see in the report that I put out in the advanced package, we have reached out to Treadscape. They were the company that did the Dalewood North Trail for us. I'm proposing that we use their services again for this project. They've quoted us $14,000 to knock in that portion of the trail. That amount would be reduced depending on how many volunteers and staff that we can have available at that time, so I expect that number to go down. I was hoping to be able to bring to you today quotes for the erosion repair that's required. This includes filling in a small hole that's forming at the Green Bridge that allows access across Kettle Creek. There's some erosion happening around that bridge that needs to be repaired, as well as the gravel work that needs to be done to reestablish the parking lot. When we originally looked at this, it was around $13,000. That's what I've included in the draft budget. Staff are having a difficult time this season to get landscape companies to come in and actually quote on the project. They're working full out. We've only got one price, and that is over the $13,000. It's actually sitting at $21,000 right now. So staff are still madly trying to get, they've reached out to 4, and only 2 have been on site. 1 has provided a quote of $21,000. And so we just need more time to get quotes for that. But I would like to proceed to get permission today to get the transfer of land initiated and to begin work on the actual building of the trail. And we'll bring back a final quote on the gravel work that needs to be done. Hopefully over the summer we can continue to work with those companies to get a better quote to bring back to you.
So I'll move that we do that, asking staff to come back with that quote as well. I don't know, do you need that in, because she's got it included in the report, maybe we should say that the erosion quotes
Yeah, we
will
can
come
say,
back?
and that staff will report back on
All
it.
right. And because it's included in this list of
Yep.
numbers.
Do that. Do I have a second? Max? Questions or comments? Linda?
Just on the erosion piece, Elizabeth, and I know that was a concern in a couple of different places. You feel that's sufficient, or staff feels that it's sufficient coverage? I know we had a couple of spots that were pretty bad.
Yes, really all it needs is some drainage work to be fixed, and that's included in that erosion work quote. Once that erosion is fixed, it's basically water draining from the roadway and it comes right down against that bridge. So once that is repaired, we're confident that this is a long-term fix that we're looking at.
Yeah, well, I was worried that the long term is kind of
Yeah.
the key, right?
Right.
And flooding up in that area, I know we've seen some pretty high levels in sure there, so, okay, thank you.
Yeah, just looking at the map, it looks like we only have one neighbor kind of close to that proximity with one laneway right across.
Yeah.
Would that person know what's happening? Would it be just a courtesy to let them just let them know? Or something, I don't know what, let me see the equipment working there so they know what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. We can certainly let them know. Anything else? Any further questions or comments? Seeing none on the motion, all in favor? It's carried unanimously. All right, we are up to the admin center assessment RFP.
So Madam Chair, again, this was an item that was included in the budget this year. There was $10,000 set aside for needs assessment of the administration center. Mainly the board was asking staff to look at ways to accommodate a new reception area with a publicly accessible washroom and boardroom. You'll see from the draft RFP that I've drafted is that I'm looking at three main areas: a functional planning assessment. So that's where the consultant would sit down with staff and possibly board members just to look at what are we using the office for, what is that basically a needs assessment. Out of that would flow a building construction report, so looking at the building itself, is there anything that we're missing? Is the mechanical good, is the heating system good, those types of things. And then a development of potential options in terms of all of those elements, what are we looking at? So I thought it was an opportunity. I know that the board is really looking at just a publicly accessible area. But in order to do that, I think that we should look at the project holistically and in the long term as well, so that we're know our needs, not just immediately, but longer out. That's not saying that we're committing to anything. It just gives us a better work plan and ability to plan for any needs in the future as well.
Just a quick question, just on that piece, please. I know we have, you're calling it functional planning, which is just strictly office space. Is there any thought given to an educational component to that in the public? Where we have perhaps things that are happening in the park, pictures that, sort of a room, a library room, if you will.
I think that that's probably something that could come out of that portion of the assessment, that would be staff input, that they need a room for that, or the board is looking for a room and that would be something that the architect would look at in terms of a long-term plan.
I'd be interested in hearing something about that. If we are going to invite schools and things like that in, there's some other conservation areas that are doing that very well. But there is quite an appeal and need as schools are bringing them out, and also seniors groups, things like that. I'm just wondering if there's even a way to tap into revenue that way, bus trips, those kinds of things for seniors. So I'm just asking, I'm not sure that we have the budget for it, but I'd be interested in knowing how much it would cost to do something like that.
Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's on the same ideas, Linda, if it could be designed in such a way so that the public might be able to use
Yeah,
that room.
it's a boardroom available for
Yes.
use,
And
not
the
just for
washroom.
us, but there's a space there.
And have the washroom and boardroom accessible,
Yeah.
and then close off the rest so that people can use that.
All right, so we're looking for mover and seconder for the recommendation that the needs assessment RFP be released as proposed. Steve and Dave. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? And that is carried unanimously, all right? And then we're up to the planning regulations activity report. Joe's been busy. Lots going on, like I said, it's that time of year. So they were all listed there. I don't know if anyone had any questions. We'll be looking for a motion to receive confirmation. Great. Max, read that. Linda, second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried unanimously. All right. Anything further for open session? Max?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't know whether I missed it or not, but did we pass the full authority meeting minutes from May 26th or something?
We did, yes.
I believe the intention was that was one motion, Max.
Okay.
One for both of them, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Max.
One other point of information with regard to the reassessment of the board facilities here. I think that it's a little tight for the day in which you have contractors here and the day in which you are asking for proposals. I think it's about a week or 8 days or something. Is that not just a little tight?
On your,
You mean from the day that they're,
so they come in for their site, yeah, so we're looking at the
Site-
site visit on July 9th and then the proposal closing on the 19th.
Right.
10 days. So,
Is that enough to give them time to put together a proposal?
I was just going off of similar schedules that I saw in other RFPs and similar schedules that we've used here even for the Lakeshore Washroom.
Okay. And
So
you
she
don't-
doesn't get 3, maybe she get extended?
Well, that's my question, is it looks to be a little tight from my point of view.
I'm not in the business, I don't know, yeah.
Well,
You'd certainly ask if,
I can reach out to some people.
to a couple and just ask, would that give enough time, and if not, change that date?
yeah, right.
Okay, we can leave that up to staff to just work out. No, that's a fair point, thank you, Ralph. All right, there's nothing else for open session, we'll get to motion to move in camera. Steve and Ralph. All in favor? And, yep, we had a motion, did we move motion to go back out? Can I get to Stephen and Max that we return to open session, all in favor? And that's carried. Hold on, I lost my agenda. First item was our minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the in-camera of May 16th? We've got Ralph and Bill on the minutes, all in favor? That's carried unanimously. And then there was just the one other item that staff be proceed as directed on the legal matter. Give me 1 second. Stephen and Dave, noting the conflict, all in favor? And that's carried unanimously.
Madam Chair, can I get the motion from the personnel matter?
Oh, yes, definitely. Sorry, I forgot about that. We'll move a motion by Linda, second by Dave, that we accept with regret Emily Fenn's resignation. All in favor? That's carried unanimously. All right, next meeting is August 15th, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Enjoy your summer up to that point. If anything comes up, we need a special meeting, I'll let you know, but otherwise, we're looking at that. And I have a motion to adjourn. Dave and Ian, all in favor? That's carried. Thanks, guys.